Hello everybody and Happy New Year! I wanted to start 2019 by contributing something to the Magento community that is both free and helpful. We're going to install a new terminal command on our Mac, and this simple command will allow us to install any version of Magento complete with Redis and Xdebug. Before we get started, there are a few prerequisites, and those prerequisites are that you must be developing on a Mac, you must have Docker installed on your computer, you must have Composer installed on your computer, and you need to grab your free Magento access keys. If you're missing any of these items, please come to the blog page and click on the appropriate link. I should also mention that in the description of this video, we will go ahead and include a link to this blog page. To get started, let's go ahead and download the Magento 2 install script. Once that's downloaded, we'll just follow a simple set of instructions and we'll be up and running in no time. We want to move the script out of our downloads folder and into our user's local bin path. Next, we want to make the file executable. And lastly, we want to go ahead and replace the placeholder X's with our Magento public and private keys. Let's go ahead and open the script in the text editor of our choice. Once the script is open, you only need to replace these X's with the Magento public and private keys. Also, feel free to change any of these other default values as you see fit. Once complete, save and close the file. After you've saved and closed the file, start a new terminal session. And if we start typing Magento 2 install and hit the tab button, you'll see that this has auto-completed, which means that our script is installed. Let's go ahead and spin up an instance of Magento. It's going to ask us which version we want to spin up. So we will say 2.2.6. Which edition of Magento do you want, Community or Enterprise? Now I should note that if you say Enterprise, the Magento public and private keys do need to be associated with an Enterprise license. Otherwise, the download will fail. If you want to install Community, just hit Enter to accept the default answer. What is the path to your private SSH key? Hit Enter to select the default value. If you use a different SSH key, just go ahead and enter the path to that file. It next asks us, where do we want to install the project on our computer? To accept the default location, just hit Enter. What is the name that we should use for the project? This is going to be the folder inside of the project directory where the instance of Magento will live. Just hit Enter to accept the default value. Which domain name should we use? And as you can see, the script has automatically attempted to generate a local domain name that's appropriate for the project. To accept the default value, just hit Enter. We do want to install sample data. If you don't, then just go ahead and type in the letter N. Otherwise, hit Enter to accept the default value. Next, it asks us which Docker web image we want to use. Now, if you're installing a version of Magento that is 2.2 or higher, by default, it will attempt to install PHP 7.1. If you're on 2.0 or 2.1, it will attempt to install PHP 7.0. Which database image? Just hit Enter to accept the default value. Do we want to use Redis for caching and session storage? Hit Enter to accept the default value, and I should also mention that this option will only be presented to you if you're installing a version of Magento that is 2.2 or higher. And that's not to say that you can't use Redis on Magento 2.0 or 2.1. The installation process is just a little bit different, and we did not accommodate the script to install Redis on those earlier versions of Magento. Lastly, we're going to be asked to enter our sudo password. This is because the script needs to install our new local domain name to our host file so we can access the local instance of Magento from the browser. It will check the host file to see if this domain name already exists there, and if it does, it won't enter anything into the host file. If it doesn't exist in the file, then it will go ahead and add it for you. Once we enter our password and hit enter, the Magento installation process will begin. Once the installation completes, you'll be shown all of the necessary information to access your website from the browser, to access your database, and to configure Xdebug for development. Let's go ahead and visit the website in the browser. The first page load will always take a little bit longer than subsequent page loads. Here we can see that Magento 2.2.6 has successfully installed complete with sample data. And just as a reminder as to where the project lives, it's going to be in Websites, Magento 2, Magento 226 CE. If we ever need to stop the VM to switch to another project, or we have some other reason that we need to stop it, we can just simply type in docker compose down, and that will stop it. And if we refresh the browser, we should see that the VM is down. To spin it back up is very simple. Docker compose up -d -build. And as you can see, it only took a couple of seconds to spin the VM back up, and the database was persistent. Thank you for watching this video, and I wish you all a Happy New Year.